Hi there guys, welcome to Sirocco. My name's Josh and I'll be your waiter for today.
Thanks, Josh.
Guys, could I get you something to drink while you're having a look at the menu?
I think 2 gin and tonics.
2 gin and tonics.
With lots of ice.
Lots of ice, you got it.
Thank you.
Yay.
Thanks, Josh.
Oh, of course.
Yeah, so probably.
Are you guys on the buckets?
Oh no, it's just quicker because I don't want to have to serve it.
Jeez, thank you. No way. I need a bit more ice in my drink. Don't just get to ice.
Yeah, that's for you.
Yeah, that's very pretty.
That's for you, sir. Soup's going to be good today. Hang on, you guys need some spoons. That's for you. And that's for you. You enjoy that, sir.
I'll try.
One chance.
Yep. Yeah. There's the ice, and now the things in the soup. I mean, this is quite serious.
Yeah, that's for you guys. Was I right, sir? Did you enjoy it?
Well, your hands clean.
Always clean, sir.
Okay, well, that's small comfort for John.
Yeah.
Well, hopefully the alcohol will kill the germs.
Or the lemon juice.
I'm so happy for you. Thank
Got
you.
the prawns for you, man.
That looks
And the steak
amazing.
for you, sir. It's
Amazing.
a pleasure. Just call me if there's anything else you need, okay?
Thank you.
This looks nice. Fine. What?
Oh, great. Josh, I ordered specifically clearly for that. Now I've got rare or medium rare.
No, it's rare, sir. Look, you just see it, sir.
You asked for well done, though.
Yeah, no, sir.
Great service. It can take us to much higher places. Bad service can ruin a business. Welcome, students. This is chapter number 20 in our ProStart adventure. We are looking at principles of great service. Let's jump in. So service is what the restaurant and food service employees provide to their customers or their guests or their members. So hospitality is the feeling that the guests take from the experience that we give them. The interaction between the guests and the host, and the service with the care and attention and the physical environment itself as well. When you think about when you go to a restaurant or a hotel, you spend significantly more in that restaurant than you normally would if you were to just purchase the ingredients and make the product yourself. But you're very happy to, because it's not just that you don't have to do the dishes and you don't have to cook the food, but you get an experience. This is critical, especially to to give high quality customer service in order for customers to walk away with that smile on their face and feeling good about the money they just spent because the experience gave them exactly what they wanted. So good customer service benefits to an operation in the way that they increase guest satisfaction, they increase guest loyalty. And by increasing guest loyalty, those guests will come back more often. So that means that they can decrease their marketing costs because they're not having to search for new customers to be coming in every time. They increase and enhance the business reputation, which then just multiplies on itself, creating a positive work environment for your employees as well, which in turn is going to make greater profits for that company as well. The employees are going to be more satisfied and proud to work in that establishment. This can give you a competitive advantage where you can attract guests to one operation over another one because the nature and the quality of the customer service is greater. You stand out from the competition. Can you name one company that's just in fast food that stands out from the rest? Let's take a look.
Cool. Hello, welcome everyone. How are you all?
Oh, doing great as well.
If you've gone through the drive-thru at Chick-fil-A on Oleander Drive in Wilmington,
The combo with the medium fried.
you probably already know Jeremiah Mural.
Yes, ma'am, but the sandwich has pickles too. Is that okay? That is so awesome.
He may just be taking your lunch order,
I'll meet you up ahead.
but it's the way he does it that has caught the attention of thousands. A frequent customer saw Jeremiah working and posted a video on Facebook of him taking her order.
Everyone, you're one step away from an awesome lunch meal. It'll be a pleasure serving you at our drive-thru window after 2 more things. You know what that is. So Fist Bump Beach, you guys are awesome. 1 and 2. Have an awesome day up ahead.
All right,
all for
thank you.
choosing Chick-fil-A.
Little did he know, that video would be viewed more than 150,000 times.
Wow, yes, ma'am, and enjoy.
This 20-year-old Wilmington native started working for the company a few years ago. Regardless if it's hot or cold, rain or shine, Jeremiah spends countless hours outside striving to make your day a little better.
Your actions or your behavior or the way you say something or the way you interact with people, it matters and it transforms the day.
Through a few smiles and kind words,
My pleasure, Miss Bailey. See you later back there.
he hopes the service he provides is a memorable one.
Whew. Hello, welcome. How are you? I serve a lot of guests. I try to remember each and every name in drive-thru. That's just a personal thing for me. What was your name again?
Lauren.
Miss Lauren, I thought so. I'll put Lauren here. Oh, Miss Lauren.
While he sees thousands of people a day, Jeremiah treats them all the same.
Be a pleasure serving you there.
All right, thank you.
My pleasure, Miss Lauren.
Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas, everyone. That was great.
And those customers take notice.
Do you work here with all your family, right?
Exactly.
I love your family.
Oh, wow.
That's right. Jeremiah's brothers and sisters also work there. Christian, Denise, Joshua, and Angel. He was even honored by the Brunswick County Sheriff's Office.
When they showed me this, I was like, I was just speechless.
Jeremiah dreams of owning his own Chick-fil-A franchise while incorporating ministry and music too.
Seeing these lives transform just by talking with them and taking their orders and being kind and nice is awesome. At a drive-thru window, it'll be a pleasure serving you there.
Yes, Jeremiah went above and beyond right there, but the fact is that Chick-fil-A is so well known for great food, but amazing customer service. They encourage their employees to go above and beyond, and they train them very, very highly to do that, because it doesn't cost anything more to be pleasant to people, but it really sets you out, it stands you out from the competition. So let's take a look at when we're looking at the service industry careers. When we have people serving people directly, they have the ability to make the biggest change in what occurs in that restaurant or in that establishment. The most important of aspects of their job is when they have that direct contact with the customers, with the guests. You have to have that natural desire to want to serve if you're going to be in these roles. And the way that you're going to be able to improve with everything is not just about having that great attitude, but also want to be able to improve with additional training. The more you know about the industry, the more you know about your job and about the overall concept of what you're working with, the better you'll be at being able to give a better experience as well. But it does take training, effort, and commitment to make these things happen. And that's where you can build great leaders, because a great leader is someone who can then help the staff to achieve everything that they're capable of. So first impressions are huge. You literally only have a few seconds to make that first impression with a guest when they walk through the door.
Here it is, crunch time. Everything was just going so smoothly. You had everything under control, and then it all hits. At once, a line of check-ins waiting at the desk that just came in out of nowhere. I don't remember a bus group on the schedule. Where did all these people come from? There's a guest on line 4, room 206. This is the 3rd time they've called this morning. What do they want this time? And I haven't even gotten around to my paperwork. There's old Mrs. Habersham. Bless her. She doesn't hear very well, and she obviously doesn't see the line in front of her. Okay, Sylvia, don't panic. Take a deep breath. You've handled situations like these before. Somehow they always work out. You know you can't please everybody at the same time. Just smile, try to make a good first impression, and prioritize. Hi, Welcome to Mayfield Resort Hotel. My name is Sylvia. How may I help you?
I have a reservation. The last name is Wallace.
The guest in front of you comes first. Make eye contact. Welcome them. Once you acknowledge them and they see how busy you are, it's easier to ask them to be a little patient. Thank you for your patience, Mr. Wallace. I'll be happy to. If you could just give me a moment. Oops. There's the third ring. I usually try to answer by the second. Good morning, Mr. Hayward. This is Sylvia at the front desk. Do you mind if I put you on hold for a moment? You can always apologize to the caller later, but it will go better if you acknowledge them first and don't let the phone keep ringing.
Pardon me, Missy. Missy, your machine won't print my boarding pass. Can you help me?
I will be more than happy to help you, Mrs. Habersham. If you could just wait a few minutes while I help these guests who are already in line waiting to check in.
Oh, dear. Where'd they come from?
You don't want to call her out for butting in, but you do want to draw her attention to the guests who are waiting before her. It's more difficult for her to go on as if they don't exist if she sees them looking back at her. Thank you again for your patience, Mr. Wallace. I see that you will be staying with us for 3 nights in a room with 2 queen beds. Is that correct? I'll be with you shortly. Make eye contact with the other guests in line to let them know that you will get to them as soon as you can. Normally, we would pull another front desk agent out to man the front desk as needed, but we are seriously understaffed. Thank you, Mr. Wallace, and I hope you enjoy your stay. She knows she's next. I can buy a few seconds here.
As you can see in that video, it's incredible how quickly people will take that first impression. You literally just have a few seconds. But that very skilled front desk clerk had the ability to touch several different people, and even though she was short-staffed and she was under a lot of pressure there, she was able to juggle all of those individuals and let them know that every single one of them were very important to her and she will take care of them. And it makes a huge difference. Rather than just ignoring them and just trying to kind of get through one at a time, she made a quick step with each of them so that they knew that they were important to her and she was going to get to them. And it makes a great difference. So it sets that tone for the guests' experience. The guests all felt welcome because she touched every one of them. She was confident about the decision, or it makes them confident about the decision to come to the operation, that they know that there's going to be someone there who cares. It sets the stage for the good dining experience as well when you have situations like this where people aren't just being left out in the cold. Guests are more likely to forgive minor errors or slight delays in things if you make that first impression with them as well.
Think about the first time you dined out at your favorite restaurant. What was the first thing you remember that made the experience special for you? A big part of why that restaurant is your favorite is probably because they showed you a great first impression. A first impression is often the strongest impression people have of a person, place, or event. A strong first impression is one of the least expensive and most effective forms of advertising. It accomplishes several different goals, such as making guests feel welcome, helping guests feel confident about the decision to come to the operation, setting the stage for a good dining experience, and making the guest more likely to forgive minor errors. The first impression a restaurant gives strengthens guest satisfaction. That's what keeps guests happy and coming back for more. There's a lot of ways to make great first impressions. Begin with excellent customer service when on the phone. Don't forget to use good telephone skills, including standard greetings. A restaurant can also give a good first impression in person when a guest arrives at the door. Make them feel comfortable and welcome. Thank them for choosing your operation. Next, dazzle guests with courteous and friendly interactions. From the front of the house to the back of the house, make every encounter full of smiles, eye contact, and friendly conversations. Recognize and learn the names of regular guests. Another part of putting on a great first impression is making sure the restaurant is clean, both inside and outside. The outside of an operation is frequently the first thing a guest sees. So, make sure areas like the parking lot, sidewalk, and entranceways are clean and inviting. The inside should smell clean and fresh. Floors, tables, utensils, menus, and counters should be maintained. And don't forget about keeping the restrooms well-stocked and spotless. First impressions are also impacted by the appearance of all employees in the operation. It's important to act and dress professionally. Clean and tidy uniforms, good personal hygiene like clean hands and nails, and making sure your hair is pulled back and neat will go a long way. You also want to avoid doing some of the following in front of guests or even outside of designated break areas: eating, drinking, smoking, or chewing gum. And don't wear strong fragrances while at work. Remember, making a great first impression is not hard. The hard part is that you can never take back a negative first impression. Commit yourself and your team to giving your very best to your guests.
That first impression is the least expensive and most effective advertising that you can ever have. You have raving guests who are saying, hey, this place is so cool, you've got to go there, they've got the best service, the best food. When you're offering that high level of service, great food to go with it, those guests are going to come back and they're going to tell everyone about it. They're going to make sure that they knock on each other's doors and talk all about you, and they're probably going to go online as well and put positive comments everywhere about what you're doing as well. So this isn't hard to make that good first impression, but it's about being conscientious. It's about wanting to make that great first impression. So initially, you have that guest interaction, and that's when you have that moment. But you can also have it where that first interaction may be on the phone when they're making a reservation in your restaurant as well. Make sure you've got someone who's been well trained to be able to answer the phone and be professional and to be courteous and kind and accommodating to people on that phone as well. You want to make sure that you're greeting guests immediately. Remember on that front desk example, the second guest who was behind the person she was taking care of, she knew that she was going to have to wait for a moment or two, so she literally leant over and said, sorry for the wait, but I'll be with you shortly, just so that she knew that she was recognizing her. It's important. Always display courtesy and respect and friendliness in every interaction. Learn the names and recognizing the regulars. That's the reason why regulars will keep on going back, is if they feel like that's literally a home away from home. Making sure that at the very basics you have a clean and fresh appearance in your restaurant is critical. Maintaining the exterior of the facilities so the parking areas are well lit and well paved. The sidewalks are clean and the entranceways are nice and clean and taken care of. And then the exterior of the actual building, if you have awnings, that they're not torn and faded, make sure they look good. Maintaining the interiors. The floors are clean. Everything smells fresh and nice. The tables are clean. The utensils are clean and well presented on the tables. The menus have been wiped over and they're all clean and fresh, not dog-eared and torn up. That the counters are all clean and the restrooms are clean. A lot of people will actually see the cleanliness of the restroom and they will equate that to the cleanliness of your kitchen too. Make sure that all of your employees are dressing appropriately. You've got a clean, wrinkle-free uniform that's in good condition. Make sure you have good hygiene. You have clean hands, nails, face, and hair. A lot of these things come into the rules of what we get from the Department of Health, but it should be part of our appearance, and we should be proud of working where we are as well. Having minimal jewelry, and making sure that we have everything set so that things look appropriate as well. Making sure that when we're not when we're actually on the floor itself, that we're careful about where we're eating, drinking, smoking, chewing gum, that we have a designated area for that so that customers don't see those kinds of behind-the-scenes types of things. Also, don't wear strong fragrances. For two reasons. Number one, it can be distracting to customers if you're out interacting with them. But number two, it can also hurt your ability to actually smell and taste foods if you're in the kitchen as well. When you're identifying different customers' needs, you're going to find that certain different groupings are going to require different assistance. So when you look at age, if you have some older guests, they may need additional help They might have a difficulty seeing, hearing, walking, carrying food if there's a buffet, or counting money if they're trying to pay at the end as well. Make sure that you and all of your employees are always respectful towards these individuals. Be patient. Give them the time that they need. They may also have some certain dietary restrictions or concerns that they may have to deal with as well. Make sure that you're knowledgeable about the menu. Never make anything up. Always check with the chef if you don't know first. Dietary needs can be a really vital thing to some people. In fact, it can be a choice of life or death in some cases if you have allergies. But then if you have religious restrictions or certain diets that you're following, these can be very important to people or critical to people as well. Make sure that servers know their menu. They should be able to taste through the menu and learn about the menu. They should know everything about the menu before they're on the floor actually taking care of customers. But like I mentioned, always check with the chef if you're not sure. Never try and guess on anything. How about families with younger children? This can be a challenge as well.
Yeah, g'day and welcome to this instructional video on how to take kids to a restaurant. The rules, Dad. Alright, a few rules before we go in, okay? You, no pulling on her hair. You, no calling her a stinky bum. No running, Dad. No. No jumping, no running, no screaming. The big kid, Dad. Cool, gives a look. The whoa, Dad. Whoa. Hey, whoa. No jumping on the tables, no stealing Dan's fries.
This might all sound funny, but the fact is when families go out to eat together, this can be a stressful time for the parents, just because they want their children to behave, and sometimes they don't necessarily do exactly what they're supposed to do, right? So as our customer service representatives that we are in the hospitality industry, we should always make sure that we're as prepared as we can be. So have high chairs and booster seats ready in case if they forgot to actually ask for them when they made their reservation. You may have some entertainment for them. You might have a children's menu so that the children feel like they're a centric part of your organization too. Having quick snacks as well, because when kids come in, if they're hungry, they're normally fidgety. They want to have something inside them as quickly as possible. Make sure that you send the order as quickly as you can to the kitchen. Get the kids taken care of, and then Mum and Dad will be happy after that. You may also have some things like crayons and some coloring sheets and things like that as well. Just some sort of things to keep the kids entertained for a few extra minutes. Always be knowledgeable about dietary restrictions, especially with allergies that a lot of children can suffer from as well. When you have first-time guests coming in to join you, they may be unfamiliar with the menu. So make sure that your service team are prepared for that type of thing. Especially if you have an unusual concept in your restaurant, you may need to explain that to the first-time guests. Give a good brief introduction to your facility and the menu. If you're asking, have you dined with us before? You might need to spend an extra 2-3 minutes just talking with them about what it is that the chef's concept of the restaurant is, so that way they can be aware of everything, and they will probably get a better enjoyment from their experience. Then you may have some foreign language guests. This can be great if you have any employees who speak other languages as well. Then try and match them up with those particular tables if possible as well. If you know how to speak another language, it's huge. It really is. You can make people feel so much more welcome, and it can come across as so much more of a richer experience for them. It may be possible to also have dual language menus. If the area that you're living in has a larger community of maybe Spanish-speaking or French-speaking or whatever other groupings that you may have in your particular area, it might be a useful thing to have some other menus with other languages ready for those individuals when they come in. It can also be useful to have pictures on menus as well. If you're somewhere where you don't speak the language, if there's a picture, literally it tells 1,000 words. Then when you have people dining alone, This may not be something you've even thought about before, but the fact is, if someone, say if it's a business person, is having a lunch or is out for dinner, or maybe they've traveled to where you are, they may not have a dinner date to sit down with. That can feel kind of awkward for some people sometimes. So make sure that you have good attention to those individuals, but also ask them where they want to sit. Sometimes these individuals may like to just sit and read the paper or read their, read something on their iPad or their iPhone or something like that. But it might be that these individuals might like to sit at the bar and be able to chat with the bartender or something like that, just so that they can have some interaction as well. People with disabilities can sometimes need additional assistance with doing various different things around your establishment. So it might be that you need to accommodate for things like ramps and hand railings as well. There is the ADA, which is something you need to be aware of, the Americans with Disabilities Act. So this is where you are prohibited from discriminating against someone who has a disability. This means that you must have things like your bathrooms must be set out so that people in wheelchairs can have full access. But it also means that you need to be as accommodating as possible so that those individuals can feel welcome as well. Some restaurants go above and beyond.
Touching moment at a local Taco Bell has gone viral, and it started after an employee signs to a deaf customer.
That exchange was caught on camera and is now being shared across the world. As the Now's Lauren Wilson explains, the moment was 2 years in the making. Caleb Francis is your typical 18-year-old, just trying to figure out life after high school.
I'm always trying to keep busy, so whatever I can do to not sit around and do nothing is kind of what I like to do.
But when it came to choosing electives in school 2 years ago, he knew he wanted to try something a little different.
And I didn't want to take art, I didn't want to take ceramics. I thought everyone I know here takes Spanish, French, my dad speaks French.
So he took 2 years of sign language, never knowing when or where he would use it.
I was like, all right, I'll just take sign language, no big deal. I wasn't I really want to take it. And it was I picked it up like that. I definitely knew that there was going to become a point where I could use it.
But one day, as he was working here at Taco Bell during the day shift, that thought became a reality as a customer who was deaf stood in line, lost and confused, until Caleb stepped in.
He wanted a side of salsa and sour cream, but he didn't know how to order a side of salsa and sour cream. And then we just kind of started communicating a little bit through that.
Another customer in line caught the interaction on camera, posted on social media, and that's when it went viral.
When I saw the video, I was very, very happy and very proud. He's so super with customers.
With over 200 shares in less than 2 days, Caleb tells me for him, it's just about helping someone in need and speaking the language he's grown to love.
I think the biggest misconception about all of this is people say oh, you probably made his day so much easier. But what people don't understand is that it is just as exciting for me to get to sign to people. So when someone says, oh, I signed, it's it's so exciting to me.
Caleb tells me that since his interaction, he has had 3 other deaf people come in to specifically sign their orders with him. He says he's going to continue to practice and become more fluent. For the Now, I'm Lauren Wilson.
What a huge difference that made. And as you heard at the end of that video, now there are more deaf people who are specifically coming to that Taco Bell knowing that they're going to get that extra attention. What a difference in some people's lives that can make. Then we also have special occasions, these large groups where you have different specific needs that they have. They might have a specific menu that they've chosen, a certain location, maybe a private dining room or something like that, and then having specific requirements as well. If it's a birthday, they may have birthday cakes ordered, they may want to have balloons, they may want to have all sorts of different things. You may need to have specific additional dedicated servers just to take care of that large group so that they get the service that they're going to require. It's all about identifying the guest's needs, trying to anticipate what they are, especially if you can do it before they even ask for it, the difference you can make there. And then watching and listening carefully, trying to be proactive about different things and please those guests and think a little creatively. Sometimes that's what's required to make the difference. So when we when we have had different events going on, and that might just be a family of 3 having dinner, or it might be a couple just having breakfast, we want to get some kind of feedback from those individuals, because we may think we're doing a great job, but you never really know. So there's certain ways that we can measure if we have good guest satisfaction. And so that's where we're going to want to understand if we're given the right qualities of service and getting that feedback. So that can include things like comment cards, having surveys, focus groups, and mystery shopper programs as well. These are when we actually invite people to come in without invitation, but to just come in and actually experience everything and give us direct feedback on that specific visit to your establishment. With comment cards, you have it will just be like a quick survey, just maybe a couple of questions on there. That can be included with the check, so hopefully you'll get people to fill it out before they leave. Take those comments seriously, and make sure that you correct any issues that are on there very quickly as well. It could be something as simple as the style of service you're given. It may be that something's broken. There may be a light bulb out or something like that you didn't even realize yet. Make sure that you circulate the results of these things around to all of your employees so everybody can improve. Make sure that you praise in public. If there are issues that come up, then you may need to talk to certain employees in private about it. But if there's something that's great that's happening, then make sure you tell all the staff, because these kinds of things can spread so that everybody wants to do these types of things as well. Everyone likes to have some praise. And then making sure that you're instructing and training employees on improvements that can be made. Surveys can be similar to that comment card, but they're generally asking more open-ended questions. You can be calling after the visit, or it may be that you're actually offering a complimentary food item or a discount for something in the future in order to get that reaction from customers. Sometimes you have to actually offer that type of thing. Just be aware, if you're offering something for free after they give a comment, you may actually get more happiness in your results because they're being offered something for free. So just bear that in mind. It could actually skew your numbers a little by giving away something for free as well. With focus groups, like I mentioned, this is where we have guests that can meet up as a group, and they actually discuss the improvements between them. So you're actually getting interaction between those individuals, so you can actually get some good feedback, because not only are they going to be giving their opinions, their feedback being interactive with other people can actually end up creating where you create solutions as well to some problems that they may have identified. Each area of operation can be identified with this, and those individuals can be completely free to comment on it. So this can also be done with employees as well, and so it's very important that when you're doing it with employees, that there's no pressure to not discuss negative things in there as well, if that's going to help the establishment to improve. But make sure that you vary the employees who are involved with it, not just always taking the employees who say everything's great. Because if everything isn't great, you need to know about it. Those mystery shoppers that I mentioned, this is where you would actually have them hired by an operation. There are outside mystery shopping companies. You can actually use a mystery shopper app on your phone, and you can actually get paid to go and enjoy maybe a McDonald's, or you actually go to a Walmart or somewhere like that, and you actually look at the various things that they may have. You may purchase some things, you might just go to see some of these things, maybe take some photographs and give some in-depth feedback on certain operations that are happening, good and bad. So sometimes we get those complaints. What do we do with a complaint? Do we stick our head in the ground, in the sand, and hope that it goes away? Well, of course not. We have to resolve those complaints.
No matter what an operation does, mistakes can happen. Stuff goes wrong. Guests become unhappy. Any unhappy guest is bad for business. So every operation needs an organized system for handling and resolving all guest complaints. The person who first receives the complaint is responsible for making sure it gets resolved. even if that means deferring to someone else, such as a manager, to do so. Some operations even choose the on-duty manager or shift supervisor to resolve complaints. Other operations allow employees to solve the problem without supervision. Operations may vary on how to handle a guest complaint, but the important piece is making sure every staff member is trained on how to handle these situations. First, listen to guests attentively, always looking for ways to solve the problem. Next, always treat the guest with respect and courtesy. Keep your professional image on at all times, even if the situation is challenging. Do not become defensive or take the guest's complaints personally. Continue holding down your professional image by being patient. Work hard to see the problem through the eyes of the guest. Apologize sincerely for the mistake. Then, paraphrase the problem to confirm it with the guest. Basically, restate the problem and the main details. Next, take responsibility for the situation. You have a problem to solve, not to blame on someone else. Never say things like, "Sorry, that's not my job." Don't try to pass the problem on to someone else. Take ownership for resolving complaints, unless the situation calls for additional help or authority, such as a supervisor or manager. Although resolving complaints may not always be easy, there is an easy way to remember the basics, called LAST. L is for listening to the guest. A is for asking detailed questions to help you understand the issue completely. S is for solving the complaint as quickly as possible. And T is for thanking the guest for bringing the complaint to you to allow you to solve the problem and maintain the guest's business with you. Armed with the right skills, techniques, and process, you are ready to take complaints head on and turn the negative into a positive for your guests.
When I worked at Charlotte City Club as food beverage director, we always had a saying, we're going to make lemonade out of lemons. If things weren't going quite so well, just like that sour lemon, we needed to make something a little sweeter. And so you always look for a way to make improvements on what's going on to resolve that complaint. But when a person receives that complaint, you have to make sure that it gets resolved. You have to defer it to a manager if you need it to as well. We've got to determine who's going to resolve that complaint so that the manager can support the employee's decision on it as well. We always have to make sure we're training our staff members to understand the best way to tackle these different situations. So you must always listen attentively. Courtesy and respect is key. Don't blame or become defensive or anything like that. Make sure you're just listening and understanding exactly what's going on, so that way you can empathize with that guest. You have to be patient, and you've got to apologize for what's happening. And this could be something that could be a little tricky, because at times you might have a customer who says, "My steak is overcooked. I ordered it medium rare." And you're looking at that steak and thinking, it's perfectly medium rare. But it's all about what that guest's impression is. And so the fact is, then the question you need to be asking very patiently is, would you prefer for that steak to be cooked a little less next time? Yes. Okay. Then you're going to make sure that the kitchen gets the full story on everything so that they understand, so that no one becomes defensive about it, because it's all about taking care of that guest to make sure that they're happy at the end of the day. So paraphrase that problem back to the guest so that you can very quickly identify exactly what the true issue is. Take responsibility for it and let them know you're going to take ownership of it as well, so that way you can resolve the problem. So recognize when that guest is upset. Sometimes guests can be a little quiet about things. You may go to the table and say, "How was everything prepared this evening?" And they may just kind of shrug. Now some servers may be like, "Well, they didn't say anything was wrong," and so they may just continue on. Well, if you don't get a positive reaction from your guests, then the chances are you need to fix something. Make sure that you're looking out for certain keys. You can see in this image over here that the gentleman is pointing towards his empty glass of water. Very easily solved. Grab that pitcher of water and go over and top it up. But the fact is, we shouldn't let that glass get quite that low next time. So it's all about keeping a close eye on our guests. So ask guests to be specific about any issues that they may have as well, if you're trying to get something from them as well. Look for those signs, look for annoyance, look for a meal that's not finished, where they may have left half of that steak. Maybe the steak was just a really big steak, or maybe it wasn't well cooked, maybe it wasn't well seasoned, maybe there was a problem with it. Avoiding eye contact can be a problem as well. If a guest is just avoiding your eye contact and saying, it was okay. If they're being very neutral about things, something's probably not right. Never avoid any of those dissatisfied guests. Be proactive about it. Fix the situation. So even if you, as an employee, maybe as a server, are empowered to fix certain problems, make sure that you notify your manager of all those complaints as well. That manager may need to go over there to assist with correcting the issue as well, or at the very least going over to offer his assistance or her assistance to resolve that situation. But the fact is that manager needs to know, because if there's a pattern of issues that are coming up with certain things, say if every steak this evening was overcooked, well, maybe it's an issue with the kitchen that we need to actually have resolved by management. And always being able to apologize and show concern is a key part of being a good manager and a good leader with that team. Anytime you're taking any complaints over the phone, if someone's calling up after they've had an issue, make sure you write down some notes. It's really important. Make sure that you're very clear about all of those details as well. Apologizing for the issues which have been caused by your establishment, but it may not have been caused by you. Don't take it personally, but make sure you relay that message through to the appropriate people within your organization so that we can find a resolution. When someone's taken the time to actually write a letter or email complaints, always be careful with that. This could be a significant problem that may have come along as well. So you want to take additional care with these types of things. Yes, we want to make sure that we're taking care of the customer, but when you're putting things in writing, then you must not accept responsibility for the injury or damage in writing, and always be aware of the fact that you're not going to document any reimbursement policy that you may have that may not apply to every situation that can come along, because those written documents can then be held against you as well. So just take additional care, because that can turn into a legal situation as well. When we look at resolving guest complaints, we have the acronym LAST. So this is all about listen to the complaint, ask detailed questions so you can get all of those details, solve the complaint, and then thank the guest for bringing that complaint in the first place. The fact is, if they didn't, the chances are they will never come back, but at least they gave you the opportunity to try and resolve it.
All right, that's fine. You know what? Fine. You want to cheap out? That's cool. What are you drinking? What are you drinking? What are you drinking? What are you drinking? Your lemonade is going to be this big because you're ordering off the kids' menu, and I'm not refilling it for you. What do you want? What? Weird. Off the regular menu or the baby menu? All right, enjoy your ridiculously tiny hamburger. What are you drinking? Whatever. You. What? Great. Drink. Cheap. You. What do you get? Off the baby menu? That's fine. Let's save you money so you can figure out how to leave me a decent tip, okay? Because right now I have no prayer at all. You know what, Grandpa? If I was nice to you, I could canned, okay? If you want good service, you go somewhere else. I know Hooters is probably more your speed. You came here on purpose, okay? You used that line already, and it wasn't funny before. What are you drinking? A little more specific, genius. Great. Dad, what do you want? Tacos? You want chicken or beef? Chicken. And toilet water for you. Anything for the little one? No, she's going to eat scraps. Great. That's a big waste of space. What do you want?
Three-way bowl of chili.
Is that all you're eating?
Yeah, that's strawberry shake.
Three-way bowl, heartburn, strawberry shake. All right, pass all the grown-up menus down. What? Do I have spaghetti? Did you see it anywhere on the menu? Yeah, that's because we don't have it, okay? You're at a place that gives out paper hats. You want spaghetti? Go to an Italian restaurant, okay?
Wow, Now, hopefully you never experience any poor customer service like that, and hopefully you have now been inspired that in the future you're going to give great service. But it's a lot about understanding these things and really experiencing a lot of these things so that you can then deliver great service. I hope you enjoyed all of this. I hope you learned a lot. I look forward to seeing you in the kitchen soon. Cheers.